The engines whispered a steady thunder as the aircraft cruised high above the dark Atlantic. Cabin lights glowed softly, painting tired faces in pale gold as most passengers drifted between sleep and thought. At 35,000 feet, everything felt distant from the world below. Calm, predictable, safe, or so it seemed. Near the back of the plane, in row 22 by the window, a woman rested her head against the glass. She looked like any ordinary traveler. A simple jacket, a worn book tucked into the seat pocket, eyes closed in exhaustion. Nothing about her stood out. No one noticed her, and that was exactly how she preferred it. But beneath that calm surface lived instincts that never truly slept. Years of discipline had trained her body to sense changes others ignored. A shift in tone, a movement that didn't belong. Even in rest, part of her was always awake. The intercom crackled suddenly. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking." His voice was controlled, but something in it felt different. A hesitation, a weight. "I apologize for disturbing you, but we have a situation that requires immediate attention. If there is a Delta Force sniper on board this aircraft, please make yourself known." The words landed like a shockwave. Conversation stopped. Heads turned. Children stirred. A nervous silence spread through the cabin as people tried to understand what they had just heard. A Delta Force sniper on a commercial flight in row 22. Her eyes opened slowly. She didn't react with panic. She didn't rush to stand. She simply stared at her reflection in the window. Memories rising uninvited. Night missions, foreign skies, the stillness before a shot. She had walked away from that life years ago, buried it, or so she thought. But destiny has a way of finding you when you're needed most. She sat up and scanned the cabin quietly. Most passengers were frozen in confusion, but her eyes locked onto two men almost instantly. One near the emergency exit, fingers fidgeting inside his jacket, eyes darting too often toward the aisle. Another farther back, sitting unnaturally rigid, watching the crew with intense focus. To everyone else, they were just restless passengers. To her, they were a threat. She took one slow breath and stood. The movement drew attention, but she didn't rush. She walked down the aisle with calm purpose, the kind earned only through experience. Flight attendants intercepted her, pale and shaking. She leaned in, whispering instructions with quiet authority. They listened without question. Moments later, she stood inside the cockpit. The captain looked at her, searching her face. She carried no badge, no weapon, no proof, yet something in her presence told him everything he needed to know. "I'm here," she said. Relief washed over him. He explained quickly, intelligence warnings, possible suspects. No confirmation, but too much risk to ignore. She listened, then spoke with certainty. "I already know who they are. Two men, one near the exit, one in the rear." The captain swallowed. "What do you need?" "I need you to trust me." He did. The plan had to be silent. Panic would be deadlier than any weapon. The crew created small distractions. A spilled drink, a question asked too loudly, just enough movement to shift attention. She moved, casual, unhurried, like a passenger stretching her legs. The first man reached into his jacket again. That was his mistake. Her hand snapped forward, gripping his wrist with crushing force. The crude weapon fell to the floor. Gasps erupted. Before he could react, she pinned him back into his seat. The crew rushed in, restraining him as passengers recoiled in shock. But the second man saw everything. He bolted. The cabin exploded into chaos. Shouts, crying, panic. He shoved past people, reaching beneath his shirt, pulling free a small device. She ran. Time slowed as training took over. She cut through the aisle with precision. eyes locked on her target. He reached the rear galley, fumbling desperately. Too slow. She struck, twisting his wrist, slamming him into the bulkhead. The device skidded harmlessly across the floor. His struggle faded as air marshals finally revealed themselves, securing him fully. Silence returned, heavy, shaking. The threat was over. The captain's voice came back over the intercom. Steadier now. Ladies and gentlemen, the danger has been neutralized. Tonight, your lives were saved by one of America's finest. Applause erupted. People cried. Some reached out to touch her arm, as if to confirm she was real. She didn't turn, she didn't smile. She looked back out the window, stars stretching endlessly beyond the glass. When the plane landed, authorities swarmed the cabin. She walked out with the others, unnoticed once again. No interviews, no recognition. Outside, in the cool night air, she took a deep breath. Some parts of who you are can never be buried. And that night, 300 lives would forever remember the quiet woman in row 22, who stood up when the world needed her most. If this story moved you, like the video, comment "Real Hero," and subscribe for more powerful stories where courage speaks softly but changes everything.